Everyone, and welcome to our special council meeting of Monday, March 30th, 2026. I'll now call the meeting to order, and we acknowledge that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. 2.1, approval of today's agenda. The recommended motion is that the agenda be approved as presented, with one addition and one quick change that I've noted already, is under business issues 3.1, you can insert will now be an insurance discussion. And 3.2 will now become the 2026-2027 budget approval. Okay. Are there any other changes or additions to that? If not, I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould, seconded by Councilor McCormick. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. 2.2, I will direct your attention to the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. 3, business issues. 3.1, insurance. Amy Hurdle, our Director of Finance, will lead us through this. Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
So this is the renewal for the general insurance and volunteer fire department insurance for the municipality for the 2026-2027 services. Looking to award those contracts as the insurance expires tomorrow. So a little last minute, but we did get renewals from the companies. In 2024, a couple years ago, we did issue an RFP and awarded the 2024-2025 coverage to Arthur J. Gallagher and BFL Canada, respectively, for general insurance and the fire department insurance. We have renewals from both companies, and the RFP did allow for subsequent renewals to be granted up to 5 years total if there was satisfactory performance and service. We received quotes from both companies. The renewal for the general insurance came in at a cost of $379,000, no increase over the 2025-2026 fiscal year. And the volunteer fire department quote came in at a cost of $494,000. About a 7% increase over the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Insurance costs combined are estimated to be about $873,000 for the 2026-27 budget year. This represents an increase overall from 25-26 of about $28,000 or 3.3%. The budget that we are deliberating next, or looking to approve next, we built in about a 10% increase. So this was good news, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Amy. The recommended motion is that Council approve the renewal of the general insurance policies to Arthur J. Gallagher in the amount of $379,000 and the volunteer fire department insurance policies to BFL Canada in the amount of $494,000 effective April 1st, 2026. If someone would like to make the motion. Moved by Councilor Lee, seconded by Councilor Strong. Any comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Amy. 3.2 is the 2026-2027 budget approval. Back to you, Amy.
Thank you. Your Worship and members of Council, I'm pleased to be bringing forward the draft operating and capital budgets for the municipality for the coming fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027. This budget is being brought forward for Council's consideration and final approval prior to the beginning of the fiscal year, which is a significant organizational achievement. I'd like to recognize our finance staff for their hard work and determination to get to this point, as well as the directors of the other departments, the CAO and Deputy CAO for their work in getting this done. Our commercial assessment values increased about 3.5%, and residential capped assessment grew by about 7.6%. With PVSC setting the assessment cap at 2.6%, real residential assessment growth, or new assessment, was about 5% for the year. This growth produced about $1.9 million in additional tax revenue. This additional revenue, along with an estimated $1 million in recoveries from the new Extended Producer Responsibility Program, or EPR, provided the necessary funding for our day-to-day operations and allowed for some significant transfers to reserves for future infrastructure and firefighting apparatus. Mandatory costs for policing, mandatory contributions to educations, and Property Valuation Services Corporation and Provincial Roads increased by an estimated $850,000. Mandatory contributions to education and policing costs took the biggest chunk of that. Salaries and benefits costs rose by about $416,500 due to CPI adjustments for staff and increased pension, benefits, and WCB costs. There was also a salary review completed that indicated some adjustments would be recommended. An allowance has been made in this budget for those adjustments. The provision of fire protection is one of our significant cost drivers. The municipality supports 15 volunteer fire departments operating over 90 individual trucks and pieces of equipment essential to the fire service. In addition, the municipality makes payments under agreement with 3 fire departments in Amherst, Oxford, and 5 Islands. The annual budget this year was for the fire service is $3.3 million. It is estimated that operating costs alone in the fire service will rise by about $300,000. A significant part of this is the $176,000 debenture payment for the new Spring Hill Fire Hall. We are also estimating that costs related to solid waste management, collection, tip fees, and transfer stations will rise by about $180,000. With over $700 million in municipal infrastructure and equipment, the capital budget is also a key piece of the annual budget. The capital budget for 2026-2027 comes in at about $13.3 million, with the lion's share of that, or just over $7.7 million, of that being spent on fire buildings, apparatus, trucks, and equipment. An additional $3.5 million is earmarked for building upgrades, vehicles, equipment, and infrastructure like sewage treatment plants. Another $2.1 million, funded partially by the Canada Community Building Fund, or gas tax, is set aside for capital post paving. An additional $969,000 is being spent on paving and sidewalks this year in Spring Hill, funded partially by the Spring Hill Area Rate Reserve and borrowing of $650,000. The debt service on this borrowing will be funded from an existing annual surplus in Spring Hill Area Rate Funds. Overall, the capital budget is funded from operations, reserves, the Canada Community Building Fund, or gas tax, and planned long-term debt of $4.8 million. While this year's capital and operating budgets were able to be funded from existing revenues, reserves, and some long-term debt, looking to the future, there are some financial challenges on the horizon. The municipality's long-term financial challenges relate mainly to continuing to fund contributions to major community projects, finding the funds to pay for the ongoing replacement of the fire trucks and buildings, and maintaining the previously mentioned $700 million worth of municipal infrastructure, all while maintaining healthy levels of long-term debt and operating and capital reserves. Despite rising costs and future cost pressures, the municipality was able to keep the overall tax rates the same as the prior year. While maintaining the tax rate, the budget also increases contributions to capital reserves to address infrastructure renewal. Village rate for the village of Pugwash increased 1 cent per $100 of assessment. And finally, the operating costs of our municipal sewer systems have been outpacing revenues for all 3 systems, rural, Spring Hill, and Parsboro. A 5% increase in sewer charges in all 3 systems is also recommended. The final budget document will be available on our website tomorrow and has further details about the budget, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Amy. And I'll now call on our CIO to lead us through the motions process for this. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Amy. Here we go. There are 7 or 8 motions to give effect to the budget. First one is the approval of essentially the expenditures in the operating budget, and those are just over $43 million. So the motion is that council accept the following estimates of the sums required by the municipality of the County of Cumberland for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027, prepared in accordance with Section 72 of the Municipal Government Act. The balance of the motion in the package details each of those lines, and I'm not going to go through those in detail other than to say The expenditures and the revenues both total $43,258,044. Your worship.
Thank you very much. If someone would like to move that motion, moved by Councilor McCormick, seconded by Councilor Frome. Any comments on this from anyone on council? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Worship. So now we're on to, how do we pay for that $43 million? And there are a series of motions setting rates and charges. And so the first of those is to set the tax rates. And the first motion is that for the municipality of the County of Cumberland for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027, the following are the tax rates in place. And this is the Parsboro area rate. For those are for properties within the boundary of the former town of Parsboro. Residential and resource is $1.17 per hundred. That's the general rate. In Parsboro, the area rate is 48 cents per $100 of assessment, for a total of $1.65 for $100 of assessment for residential. For commercial, within the former town of Parsboro, the general rate is $2.74 per hundred. In addition, the Parsboro area rate for commercial is $1.19 per hundred, for a total of $3.93 per $100 of assessment. For properties within the boundary of the former town of Spring Hill, residential and resource, the general rate is $1.17 per hundred. In addition, there's a Spring Hill area rate of 48 cents per $100 of assessment, bringing a total of $1.65 per $100 of assessment. In terms of commercial in Spring Hill, the general rate is $2.74. Spring Hill area rate related to commercial is $1.19, bringing the total for commercial to $3.93 in Spring Hill. For all other properties not within the former towns of Parsboro and Spring Hill, the residential and resource rates are $1.17 per $100 of assessment, and for commercial, $2.74 per $100 of commercial. Your worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hart. So if someone would like to make the motion, that would be in order. Moved by Councilor Lockhart, seconded by Councilor Lee. Any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Moving right along.
Thank you, Your Worship. We're on to sewage collection. I can see a big smile on Justin Wackress's face at the back of the room. This motion relates to sewage collection and treatment rates. And the motion in summary says that for the municipality of the County of Cumberland for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027, the rates for each of the sewage collection and treatment systems are as follows. For Spring Hill and for Athol Road, it's $306 per unit. For the Amherst Marsh, Biggs Drive, and Joggins systems, it's $508 per unit. For the Joggins extension, it's $647 per unit. And for Macan, Pugwash, River Hibbert, and Wallace, it's $508 per unit. In Parsboro, it's $58 per property for vacant lots and developed lots that are not connected to the system. And for metered properties that have metered water service, it's $3.07 per cubic meter, and that's billed quarterly. Your worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hart. Somebody'd like to make the motion, please? Moved by Councilor Strong, seconded by Councilor McCormick. Any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, I'll call. Whoop, sorry, go ahead. Deputy Mayor Gould.
Thank you, Richard. Just one question. So I know we've made a number of adjustments over the last few years on the sewer rate. Are all these systems now paying for themselves with this rate?
I'll let, Your Worship, I'll let Amy answer that. I think the answer is no, but we'll.
Yeah, Your Worship, back to Councillor Gould, or Deputy Mayor Gould. They are not. We are getting closer, but they are not quite there yet. This will bring one of them into break even, and the other two are still in a little bit of a deficit.
That's with that 5% increase that we're talking.
Yes.
Correct. It was 5% last year. It's 5% this year.
Yeah.
Probably another increase would be
Right.
required next year.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you very much. Ready for, did we vote on that one?
No,
Not yet, okay. Keep track here, there's a lot of them going through here, so. Anyway, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. Garrett.
The next motion required is to set the rates for rural streetlights. And the motion is that the uniform flat rate per assessment account for the municipality of the County of Cumberland for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027 for properties fronting rural streetlight systems be $33.49. Your worship.
Thank you very much. Somebody like to make that motion? Moved by Councilor Telling, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gould. Any comments on this? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Go ahead, Mr. Harp.
Thank you, Your Worship. We're now on to the maintenance and improvement of private roads. And for a long period of time, recent memory, there's only been one, and this year we're adding a second one. It was Jackson's Point, it was the long-standing one, and we're adding Gilbert Hill Roads Maintenance Association this year. So the motion is that the following rate for maintenance and improvement of private roads for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027 be billed and collected at the same time in the same manner as municipal taxes. And for the Jackson's Point Road Association, it's $40 per assessment account. And for the Gilbert Hill Roads Maintenance Association, it's $289 per assessment account, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harp. Would someone like to make the motion? Moved by Councilor Strong, seconded by Councilor Lee. Any comments on this or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Mr. Harrod, go ahead.
Thank you. Now we're on to village rates. Most folks will recall that in the past we've set two village rates, one for Pugwash and one for River Hibbert. We've deferred the decision on River Hibbert for the time being, and so we're setting the rate that's been forwarded by the Pugwash Village Commission. These rates and charges are collected and simply transmitted to the Village Commission in accordance with their budget. So the motion is that the following village rates for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2027 be billed and collected at the same time and in the same manner as municipal taxes. For the Pugwash Village Commission, residential and resource at 38 cents per $100 of assessment, and commercial at 45 cents per $100 of assessment. Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. Someone like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councilor Zani, seconded by Councilor Redmond. Any comments or questions on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you very much.
To date, Your Worship, in these motions, we've established the spend, and we've established how we're going to pay for it, and now we're going to establish when we need to have the money by. So this is about the due date of taxes and other charges. And so the motion is the due date for the 26-27 tax levy and other rates be June 30th, 2026, with interest to be charged on outstanding accounts on or after July 2nd, 2026 at the rate of 1.25% per month, 15% per annum. Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? Moved by Councilor Lockhart, seconded by Councilor Strong. Any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. Harrod.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Pete, repeat.
Pete, repeat, yes, exactly. So now we're on to the capital budget, and these are for major expenditures. And this details the amount that we'll spend on capital projects, buildings, vehicles, fire trucks, and the like, paving, sidewalks, that sort of thing. The total is $13,338,454. The individual projects are detailed, just for everybody's reading pleasure. The individual projects are detailed at from page 17 forward in the council's budget document. And so there you'd see a list of the individual projects. For now, we're approving a total amount of $13,338,454. Further, due to procurement time on certain equipment being greater than 12 months, in other words, it takes us longer than 12 months from ordering it to having the piece of equipment on site, that council approve a budgeted purchase of a Zamboni for the Dr. Carson and Marion Murray Community Center in Spring Hill, in the amount of $193,000, funded from general capital reserves, $64,000, grants of $128,700, with the purchase to be completed in the 27-28 fiscal year. So we expect to order that item and not receive it until the next fiscal year. And further, this is a compound motion, and I apologize for the convoluted nature of it, but it is what it is. And further, that council approves in principle the following projects contingent on procuring significant funding for these projects. If approved, individual projects will be brought back to council for final approval. So, these projects are being identified because they're on our radar for the next few years. We'll be making applications for senior government assistance from the federal and provincial governments and any other agencies that we might be able to partner with. This list of projects would come back to council for final approval, and we go through the tendering process if that were to pass. So the main north culvert in Spring Hill at $935,000, Parsboro Storm, water replacement and separation, phase one, $2.954 million. Spring Hill Main Street rehabilitation, $5.6 million. Both of those projects, those last two, the detailed design work is in one case complete, and the other is the detailed design work is almost complete. Once that's complete, we'll have those on the shelf, and they'll be quote-unquote shovel ready to apply for whatever assistance we might get. Wallace Wastewater Treatment Facility, desludge and aeration, $640,000. An allowance for Parsboro Park, that's not an approval of an expenditure, but just an allowance as funds become available from senior government. An EV charging station project of $120,000. A geothermal test well in Spring Hill, $300,000. And a structural protection unit, Pugwash Fire Department. That relates to protection of residences and buildings in a wildfire situation. And so, along with Pugwash Fire Department, we've applied for a little over $200,000 in funding, and if that request is approved, this would be one we'd bring back to council. Those projects add up to $11 million. And further, lastly, that council approves in principle years 2 through 5 of the capital budget, and again detailed in the capital budget document, March 31st, 2028 of $8.2 million, 29 of $3.75 million, 2030, $2.75 million, and March 31st of 2031 of $6.25 million. I think I've already explained that the capital budget for years 2028 to March 31st, 2031 is for planning purposes only. It's not the authority to spend unless otherwise specifically authorized, like the Zamboni, and is not necessarily the final complete listing. So that's the motion, Your Worship. I've taken a couple of side trips to explain it, but that is the crux of the motion. It's in council's package. It would be online for folks to look at if they're so inclined. Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Someone would be so kind as to make the motion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould, seconded by Councillor Fromm. Any comments on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Finally, the last of the budget motions, and I'm not going to read the whole motion. It's a general borrowing resolution, and it's essentially the approval of, let's call it, overdraft protection or a line of credit. If there is a difference in timing between when we collect revenues and when we need to spend for expenditures or for capital projects. In the last 4 or 5 years, I can say that we haven't used this at all. It's just there in case we need to use it. And it's a temporary borrowing resolution of $11.5 million, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Would someone like to make the motion, please? Moved by Councillor Lockhart, seconded by Councillor Lee. Any comments or questions on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Before we motion to adjourn, I think you wanted to say a couple of words.
I did. Thank you very much. So first, I wanted to congratulate Amy and the finance staff and Peter and the department directors and those who have had any part the budget. Thanks for all your hard work and dedication in getting the budget across the finish line, once again, by the end of the fiscal year. Seems like that's a no-brainer, but it isn't. It takes a lot of hard work to get to that spot, and it's just the last couple of years we've gotten there. And I think we've now set the bar to say that's when it needs to be done. There have been times when the budget has been in May and it's been in June, and it just backs everything up in terms of the billing. You know, we have bills due sometime in July. We have our finance folks still working on the budget when really we would like them to be working on the year end and getting ready for the audit so that we can file our financial statements on time. So great work, and you know, I think we've set the bar in the right place. Yeah, it allows the departments to move on as well to the beginning of the fiscal year, which is Wednesday, with plans and resources solidly in place. So it's good all around, and everybody deserves certainly a vote of thanks for that. And now that the budget is complete and approved, there's one other little piece of business. It's a poorly kept secret, I guess, that I do plan to retire as CAO this year. But today I'm officially announcing that I will be retiring as of September 30th as CAO this year. I'll be staying on in an advisory role until December 31st to support the transition to a new CAO. But on October 1st, there will be a new sheriff in town. I know that council is having discussions about succession, and there will be more to say publicly about that soon. I'll have lots to say, I'm sure, about my time here and the people that I've worked with in the months to come. You know, we've got 6 months to get rid of me yet, so you'll have to put up with me for another 6 months. But for now, I'll say that, look, there's been lots of challenges, and we all know what they were, and we can list them. But there's also been an awful lot of accomplishments that we've achieved together, this one and the last council, and I'm really proud of that work. I'm really proud of everybody in the room and those who have come before us. So it's been my pleasure to work with you all, and I gotta say that even though it will be tough to leave, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what's next. So thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to say those things. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hirt. And before we adjourn, I will say a couple of things. I'd like to thank not only the staff and all of the people involved in the budget process, but council for your input and discussion. There's been lots of days of council budget discussions going on in the past few weeks, and it's great to get to a spot where we find ourselves today. And I'm very proud of the fact that for 2 years in a row we got the budget out by the end of March. It means a lot. It means a lot for a lot of reasons. It allows us to carry on our business in a manner which the people expect. It also allows us to get to work on projects. Tomorrow morning we start on projects that that would be particularly held up by the budget process, and now they won't, so we'll get to work on those. And last, I guess, perhaps not least, I'd like to thank you, Greg, for everything. The list is a mile long, so I could not be sitting here without you and have the success that we've had without you. There's not a chance. Looking forward to the future, looking forward to October 1st and what's going to happen. This is a great bunch, and we'll continue on with the tradition with or without you, and enjoy your retirement in Linden. You'll be far enough away that you can't yell at us. You'll have to pick up the phone and call. But on the other hand, we can find you when we need you, so we'll be looking forward to that too. Thank you very much. If I give a motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.